Hello everyone, my name is Jin Yiling. Today I will summarizing the answer for the four questions. So now let's talk about the first one question. At first, I will explain what is the GDP, inflation, and employment, and how they relate to business cycle. Understand this indicator is important for any enterprise that aims to make a good strategy decision. So what is GDP? GDP is mean the gross domestic product is total value of all goods and service product in a country over a certain period. When GDP is rising, it typically indicates economic expansion. People's consumption power will increase, and the business will invest more and hiring will rise. And what is inflation? It means that rate of increase in price typically through the CPI, that means Consumer Price Index. Moderate inflation can inflate healthy demand, but inflation will reduce consumption power and release business costs, especially in wage and raw material. At last, what is the employment? The employment rate shows the percentage of the labor force that actively looking for work but unable to find a job. High unemployment typically signal an economic slowdown, while low unemployment indicate economic growth but may also come with higher inflation. Now that we understand the key indicator of the economic, let's see how they behave across the business cycle. Let's see the picture 1. As we can see in this diagram, when GDP rise and it means an increase in the output of goods and services, this growth encourage business to hire more workers, which cause the employment rate to fall. At the same time, higher demand in the economy put upward pressure on price, leading to inflation. This sequence of rising GDP, falling in unemployment, and rising inflation is typical of an expansion stage. As the cycle progresses toward its peak and then into contraction, we can see the obtuse trend: GDP falls, and unemployment rise and inflation typically slow. This shift explains how economic move between periods of growth and recession. So let's turn to the picture 2 is the business cycle. This curve shows the economic output such as GDP rise and fall over time. The cycle has 4 key stages: expansion, peak, contraction, and slow. During expansion, GDP is rising. The business grew, demand is strong, and companies are hiring more workers. At the peak, output is at the highest. Growth begins to slow down and inflationary pressure may increase. Then we enter a contraction stage. GDP decline, business reduce spending, and unemployment start to rise. Finally, in the truth, the economic hit its lowest point. Confidence is weak, but this often marks the beginning of a new recovery. As business leader, we must recognize this stage early. In the expansion stage, we might invest and scale up. During the concession, we may need to delay hiring or reduce costs. Understand this microeconomic signal help us take the initiative to plan not passively. In summary, GDP, inflation, and unemployment are more than just statistics. They are vital tools to help us understand the economic current stage and prepare for what is the next. Business that pay attention to this indicator can adapt faster, plan smarter, and outperform from the competition. So let's turn to the question 2. In the recent year, the Trump administration imposed a tax on a range of imported goods, particularly from China. While this tax will intend to protect domestic industry, they create ripple effect across the global economy, including Australia. A tariff is a tax on import. It raises the cost of imported goods. Import goods are meant to encourage local production. However, it also affects total demand and supply both in the country imposing the trade tariff and its trading partner. So let's see the ADAS model of the United States. In the United States, tariff raise the cost of imported goods. This is lead to decline in both consumer spending and business investment. As a result, AD shift to the left, and shown by the dash balloon curve is this curve. This moment from equivalent point E0 to E1 result is in a decrease in the real GPT and a lower price level. In shock, the tariff caused a negative demand shock, slowing economic activity. So let's talk about the Australia ADAS model. In Australia, although tariff will not directly apply, the country faced indirect consequence, mainly through reduced export demand and global uncertainty. This lead to lower export revenue and higher production costs, shifting AS to the left. Shift as shown by the dashed green curve. This one. And the new equilibrium at E1 show a drop in GDP, but unlike the USA, the price level rise. This is a typical case of cost push inflation triggered by supply constraint. So what does this mean for business? Even if a company isn't directly involved in a global trade, this kind of economic shift can still have a major impact on the cost, demand, and overall confidence. That's why business today need to think beyond the borders. We need to directly for our market, strengthen our supply chain, and be ready to quickly when global conditions change. Tracking macroeconomic indicator like demand, price level, and output isn't just for the economy. It's particular tools to help leaders to make smart, timely decisions. And in a world facing tariff and shifting trade alliances, being able to respond the fast could be the difference between falling behind and staying ahead. But the economy doesn't just shape the market; it also shape individual decisions. Let's talk about the question 3: how behavioral economic expand the food choice. In traditional economic, consumers are seen as a rational decision maker. They will think like the price, calories, nutritional value, and then choose the option that maximum their personal benefit or utility. But in a real life, decisions are always that the logical. Behavior economy show that we are influenced by many another factors like emotion, social pressure, and how choices are formed. Even things like whatever a product label as a low fat or in placement near the checkout can lead us to make improved buyer's decision. In that of population choose, our decisions are shaped by context, habit, and even default. These insights are incredibly useful not just for making marketers, but also for public healthy policies such as needing healthy eating in school canteen or supermarket. Well, let's talk about the question 4, and let's start with the traditional labor market before the rise of AI. As you can see, the wage increase in staff with the level. Low-skilled worker can earn the least, middle-skilled worker earn the more, and high-skilled earn the most. They reflect a struggle and relative balanced wage system. Now let's talk about the compare post 2 is after AI labor market. High-skilled workers like AI engineer or data scientists are in higher demand and their wage have surged. Middle skilled jobs such as clerical or technological roles are being automated, causing a sharp drop in the wage. Low skilled jobs still exist, but even their wage have declined. This leads to wage polarization. The top earners are rising rapidly, while the middle class is being squashed. AI is not just improved productivity; it is occurring in inequality. If we want AI to benefit everyone, not just a small group, we need to action. Government and business should help people learn the new skill like the AI, support those who lose their job, and make sure AI is used in a way that includes everyone, not just the top. To conclusion that this presentation has shown how far economic concepts connect to the real world decision. For microeconomic in detail to trade wars, we've seen how external forces shape the environment that business operate. Behavior economic help us understand how consumer decisions are influenced by emotion bias, and farming well beyond simple price logic. And finally, AI is not just changing how we work, it's changing who gets to benefit from that work. As future professional, we need to stay out, adaptable, and improve because responsibility to economic signal is not just about the survival, it is about leading change responsibility. This is my presentation. Thank you.